I wanted to ask and follow up on some of the questions that you have been asked, Admiral. And just so I think I understand from the testimony you've given, but I want to make sure that we're clear, because I know that you've been asked about the Asia-Pacific maritime security strategy, that China's artificial islands could at most generate a 500-meter safety zone, and that, of course, the Department of Defense had released a statement saying that these features under international law don't generate any maritime zones because you believe that they're not legitimate. What this means in practice is that the Navy actually can, as you know, sail its ships within 500 meters of these new land masses without violating the law because they're not legitimately there under international law. So I wanted to understand, is the Navy sailing within 500 meters of China's artificial islands at this point?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And has the Pacific Command at least sent Navy surface ships within 12 miles of China's artificial islands?
We have not.
Okay. So I guess the big question I think many of us are trying to get at this point, and I don't know, Admiral Harris, whether you or Ambassador Scheer are the appropriate person to answer the question, but why not? Saying we are going to sail and fly where international law permits and then not doing it, I'm concerned leaves China with the impression that we're, again, going to say something but not follow through on our actions, and we are going to invite more aggression by the Chinese with the activities they've been taking that are in violation of international law in building these artificial islands. So I wanted to get your answer to that.
Let me elaborate a little on what the Admiral said. In recent years, we have challenged every category of Chinese claim in the South China Sea, as recently as this year. And we will continue to conduct freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea. But let me be clear on this point. Freedom of navigation operations are important for demonstrating our rights under international law, but freedom of navigation operation alone won't stop Chinese activities on these features. Preventing the Chinese from further militarizing those features is going to take a range of options, including freedom of navigation operations, and we're in the process of considering those options now.
Admiral, did you want to add to that?
I'll just add that PACOM presents options, military options, to the Secretary, and those options cover the full range of opportunities in the South China Sea, and we're ready to execute those options when directed.
So you're waiting for, obviously, the administration to make the call on that?
Well, I mean, a freedom of navigation operation itself, as Ambassador Scheer said, is not a military-only device. You know, it has a military component, obviously, because the military executes it, but it has other elements to it which are derived by the Secretariat and the White House. So we're waiting for direction, and I'm comfortable and confident that the options that we presented are being considered equitably.
Well, as I look at this situation, though, I appreciate, obviously, Admiral, that PACOM, as a commander, you'd be waiting for direction from the White House. But as I look at it, the Chinese have to be looking at this situation saying, the United States has declared that under international law, this is not legitimate, and that we have the right to obviously put our vessels in these areas. And so, but the Navy has not sailed within, 12 nautical miles of the Chinese artificial islands at this point. And so I think they get it both ways. So they're saying, we're saying one thing, but we're certainly not willing to address where we have a free right to navigate. So I hope that we follow up with our actions and our words on this. Otherwise, I fear that the Chinese will continue their actions, because otherwise they think, hey, why not?